this conversation.
I'm glad you do, John.
We'll talk to you next time. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's 6 a.m. Grab your coffee and smell the football. It's the Way Too Early pregame show with your host, Jimmy Cook.
It is early. Some may say it is way too early. And this is the Way Too Early pregame show, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. 13 hours of Indianapolis Colts coverage on the radio starts right now. It is week 4 of the NFL season, and the Colts are in South Beach getting set to take on the Miami Dolphins. Of course, the big story, the Colts are 0-3 heading down to South Beach and taking on their former quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. It's Brendan King with you on The Fan until about 8 o'clock or so. In for Jimmy Cook, along with studio producer Eddie Garrison. Ryan Soul is also here training up. He will be producing the show next week for some Monday Night Football action in Baltimore. You follow us on Twitter at BKingSports, at Eddie Garrison _ Eddie Garrison.
Yep.
Eddie, so I don't know if I've ever been in the studio this early. Now, both of us have produced the Fan Morning Show.
You have co-hosted as well.
We have co-hosted the Fan Morning Show. Ryan, have you produced the Fan Morning Show? You have not produced the Fan Morning Show. So I have been in the studio before when it is pitch black outside, but I do feel like that this would be a totally different experience and environment. If we're talking like it was Christmas time and it's just after Thanksgiving, we're getting the Christmas lights out on the circle.
Yeah.
And we're getting the Christmas tree out there. Oh, man. The Way Too Early pregame show would be a totally different dynamic. Obviously, I always love looking at the circle here in downtown Indianapolis and looking out our 6th floor MS Communications studio window. But, I mean, you get to December, I mean, I might come in and just shadow Jimmy Cook at that point because that'd be an unbelievable view. All right, let's talk business. Colts and the Dolphins in South Beach. Frank Reich needs a dub. Desperately needs a W. And Eddie, I think this is a situation where if you're going down to South Beach in a normal period and it's an ordinary week 4 game and you're 0-3, you're still 0-3, and you have to make up some ground in the AFC South. You just lost to the Titans last week. It's a big game nonetheless. You're going to need to get to 1-3. But especially now, Eddie, we were talking about this with John yesterday on the American Standard Indiana College Game Day show, was if you lose and you find a way to drop this game to the guy in Jacoby Brissett that you paid $20 million last year to sit on the bench and then said, so long, Jacoby, it was nice in this partnership, and the guy that loses to him is the guy that you replaced him with, Eddie, I don't know how you respond from that.
I don't think you can, especially considering you have to go to Baltimore next week on Monday Night Football at 0-4.
Oof.
And Baltimore right now, they have struggled. Granted, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but they escaped against Detroit last week on could be considered a lucky field goal, depending on which side you stand. You're getting the right bounce there with Justin Tucker. But it is a must-win, as JMV would say.
I think you have to put the must-win on it, and I hate doing it in week 4.
I do too.
I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I do too, but look at the remaining schedule. You've got the Ravens on the road. You have the 49ers on the road. I mean, it lightens up there a little bit. You have Jacksonville and New York and Houston, but then you have Buffalo, at Buffalo, Tampa Bay, New England, and you have an Oakland team that looks really good right now.
Look, Kevin Bowen asked me for, out of the undefeated teams who I thought would stay undefeated, I'm taking Vegas.
Really?
Man, there is something about Gruden this year where he is just super mad scientist. And it's a mad scientist where it's like Jekyll and Hyde, where this guy is mixing up potions in his basement, and it just works on Sunday. He's throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks, and it's sticking. It is sticking, and his name is Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
This dude, is this guy the next Jordy Nelson?
I was going to say Wes Welker.
Yeah, Wes Welker. I mean, anybody. This guy's balling out.
Yeah, and then you have Darren Waller for Las Vegas, and last week Peyton Barber ran for over 100 yards against this same Miami defense.
Yeah, who the hell is Peyton Barber?
Right.
I mean, this guy was available in my fantasy league for weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks.
I mean, he played for Tampa Bay there for a little while. Right. He's kind of been around the league for 6 years, but yeah, you're right. I wouldn't put it past Las Vegas to be the last remaining team that's unbeaten, but I think they lose this week. I don't have.
You think they lose?
I have them losing to the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert in Los Angeles is rolling in the right.
See, that makes me like Raiders 3.5 a little bit more tomorrow. We're going to get to our picks, the last segment of the show. That'll be about 7:45 against Brendan King in for Jimmy Cook on the Way Too Early pregame show. Eddie Garrison on the 1s and 2s along with Ryan Soul. Let's talk about this. Jacoby Brissett, you brought up Vegas. We brought up Vegas. Jacoby Brissett last week against Vegas. Would you believe that if I asked you of the two quarterbacks today, which of them twice this season has thrown the ball over 40 times? Only Jacoby has. Carson Wentz has not thrown the ball over 40 times yet this year, which I guess is good. You know, we talk about Frank Reich getting away from the run, especially last week. Jonathan Taylor had 10 carries. Nyheim Hines had 6 carries. Now, I get that Nyheim Hines caught the ball 5 times. That helped my fantasy lineup. I started Nyheim Hines last week. You know, Carson Wentz throws the ball 37 times last week against Tennessee, but Jacoby Brissett the last 2 weeks. Against Buffalo, he threw the ball 40 times, 169 yards, no touchdowns. He does not have a touchdown pass, despite throwing the ball 89 times in 2 starts. And having Jalen Waddle available to him.
That's nuts.
Right.
That is nuts.
89 times, no touchdowns. He threw the ball 49 times, Eddie, in Vegas. 49 times. So, for Carson Wentz, there has to be something missing. There has to be something missing. Is it that you're only giving Jonathan Taylor the ball 10 times, and you're not able to develop the play-action game enough? Carson Wentz, please tell me what is missing.
Execution. Not to get too boring and plain with you, but honestly, those are the main situations. I mean, those red zone and third down really make or break football games, and when we get down there, we got to find a way to get in the end zone. You know, I missed a throw last week, and there's little things here and there that we got to do better and execute down there. And so those things, I think, can, like I said, make or break a ball game, and we got to get better in those areas.
Look, if Carson Wentz is missing throws of 2 bad ankles, I thought he was fine. Eddie, I thought he was fine. Given the circumstances, with what he likes to do, and thinking back to that Seattle game, you know, when you think about the Seahawks game, he was using his feet, he was leaving the pocket. I think everybody could say that he takes too long to get rid of the ball, and that's why we were so blessed to have Phillip Rivers at times last year, even though he was a statue in the pocket. But I think you saw last week more of a Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers type game. But even so, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it, Eddie.
I didn't either. I don't know if you planned on playing this or not, but Greg Cosell was on the Dan Dockett show.
I was about to get to that. Yeah.
This is a different cut. I think you were. Oh, this is a different cut. He was profiling Carson Wentz, and he was kind of explaining what he has seen from Wentz going into Week 4.
At one point, I thought Wentz was going to be phenomenal. It hasn't quite played out that way, but just watching Wentz at this point, you know, I think there's certain things that are problematic. I think he leaves some throws on the field. There are times he waits too long for routes to develop. Other times he just doesn't turn it loose when the throws are there. The result is that he gets stuck in the pocket and he takes too many hits and sacks. You know, I think he's got to work through that. You know, at his core, I don't know if he's a truly rhythmic player. He might be more of a big play quarterback, but you can't sit in the pocket and wait for things. Not in the NFL.
Yeah, no, Greg Cosell works with NFL Films. He's a senior producer and he's an NFL analyst, but that really stood out to me because it has been a problem in his career, and in Philly, it was always the offensive line's fault because the offensive line wasn't healthy, that he was getting hit all the time, and now it's happening again here in Indy. Granted, the offensive line has not played stellar by any means necessary either, but at the same time, it's kind of, you know, you kind of wonder, is Carson Wentz part of the problem too? Is he holding on to the football too long and waiting for things to develop too long, and it's resulted in him taking these more hits that he's taken so far this year?
I think you bring up a great point, but I think out of all the problems the Colts have right now, and the latest problem is you put Quentin Nelson on injured reserve. He's going to miss at least 3 weeks. Carson Wentz is the least of the Colts' problems. He left Philly to come here for a better offensive line. You know, it's like, well, I think it's like the founding fathers leaving England, coming to America in the 1700s. They came here for a better life. He came here for a better offensive line, and he's not getting it.
Yeah, that, and I think he came here as well to Indianapolis to reunite with Frank Reich to hopefully re-spark something from 2017 when he was, and 2018, 2019 when he was playing at a high level.
No doubt. Let's go back to Greg Cosell because he had another soundbite, and I thought this was interesting. Let's talk about Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles. What's the difference, Greg, between Carson Wentz in 2017 and Carson Wentz now?
Well, I think coaching has a lot to do with it because, and Frank Reich's trying to get him back to that point. And I think he's played, by the way, better in these 3 games with the Colts than he's played the last 2 years in Philly. So I think he's on the right track to playing more like he's capable of. But I think his first 2 years in Philly, the main drivers of what he did were Frank Reich and John DeFilippo. And I think they did a really, really good job with him. Because Wentz, I think, needs constant coaching with his mechanics because he has a tendency to lose his mechanics. He has a tendency to overstride. What that often does is it leads to scattershot throws. So he's one of those quarterbacks that needs constant work on his mechanics.
Wow. That's really good. That's really good. Greg Cosell on the Dan Dockett show earlier this week. Thanks for pulling that audio, Eddie. Wow. That's really good. I still think it's wild that Doug Peterson just appeared at training camp with Colts gear. I think that's crazy. So obviously everything's cool, I guess, between Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. I think that's always been the vibe that it was Howie Roseman that was the issue in Philly with Wentz, and that was kind of the beef that was going on. But yeah, Doug Peterson shows up to training camp. It's all puppies and rainbows at that point. and Carson Wentz, he's just about to go have foot surgery at that point. So wow, that's really good stuff. Let's hear from the opposing quarterback. And, of course, again, the opposing quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. Brissett so far in a Dolphins uniform, who is starting for the injured Tua Tagovailoa. If anybody knows about offensive line struggles, it is Mr. Tagovailoa because he has cracked ribs right now. And Brian Flores said 2 weeks ago that it was about Tua's pain tolerance and if he could play. Well, cracked ribs, I don't think anybody wants to play with cracked ribs, so Jacoby Brissett it is. 56 out of 89, 384 yards, 0 touchdowns, a pick. He has been sacked 6 times. Keep in mind that Carson Wentz has been sacked 8 times, hit an additional 31 times. Jacoby Brissett will not have his starting center, Michael Dieter, in the lineup. He's out with foot and quad problems. That's the only injury, only guy missing for the Dolphins that was not different from last week. So, big day to DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, his former teammates. Jacoby Brissett will be coming after him today.
I mean, it's that quote-unquote chess match, but, it's obviously different. I'm in a different scheme than I was when I was there. They're a different team, obviously. Different players playing in different positions. A lot of the same players playing, obviously. It's going to be different. So, yeah, obviously you have some type of familiarity with each other. Been going against them for 4 years. But they know that as well. So, obviously they're not going to just come out and say, Jacoby, remember this from training camp your second year and, we did this, beat us here. It's not going to be like that. So I'm sure they're going to have their own wrinkle and stuff like that.
No friends on the field, Eddie, when the whistle blows. Absolutely not. I really hope it could be a strong day for DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. You think Grover Stewart has had a really dominating game yet?
I think he did in that Rams game.
Yeah.
He dropped back and
might have been overshadowed though just by how good Stafford got.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp was.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit, but it's always hard when you're watching a game to look for Grover Stewart and watch him specifically because there's DeForest Buckner you're trying to watch.
Yeah,
there's Darius Leonard, the secondary. So I would say that Rams game is the only game that I can think of which he has had a dominating game, but this certainly today you need those 2 guys that you paid right there in the middle to generate some pressure into the face of Brissett, force him out of the pocket because he's mobile, he can extend plays, but when Jacoby Brissett is being pressured, we saw that here in Indianapolis. He was not very good when he was under pressure. He threw the ball away, made ill-advised throws, and he would turn it over. And when you're playing against Miami team who's really, really solid defensively, you have to force some turnovers.
Got to. And this isn't, you mentioned Jacoby has the ability to get out of the pocket. And I guess it's an ability to get out of the pocket that's better than Phillip Rivers. But still, he was getting knocked last year. This isn't Kyler Murray. And this isn't a guy that's going to go run in for 6 and it's just going to get you fantasy points on fantasy points on fantasy points. As well, Kamoko Toure is coming off the edge today. Let's keep in mind, out for the Colts today. Quentin Nelson again on IR. He'll miss at least 3 weeks. Braden Smith, the musical chairs game at right tackle continues. Kwity Paye's out. Rock Ya-Sin and Kari Willis. We talk a lot about Rock Ya-Sin, and we'll get to the defense more so in a bit, but we talk a lot about Rock Ya-Sin and sometimes his flaws. But, the Colts cornerback position is very shallow to begin with. And you cut Andre Sacheret in camp, who I think had a spectacular camp. I put him on my just outside list of best camp performances. Honorable mentions. I put him on my honorable mentions for training camp. Sacheret gets cut. He's on the Eagles now. And then Khari Willis. I've been tough on Khari Willis to start this year. I think Khari Willis has had a very underwhelming first 3 games.
They have picked on him.
But personally, I love Khari Willis. He was on my all fantasy team, or all training camp team. I love me some Khari Willis. But boy, Seattle, Tyler Lockett, L.A., Cooper Kupp, Tennessee. You get the combo. I know A.J. Brown got hurt, but Julio Jones. And how about Julio Jones and A.J. Brown not playing today? We're going to get to we're going to talk some fantasy football later, but big day for Derrick Henry. Boy, oh boy. But, geez, Sendejo starting in place of Khari Willis. And again, you need to remember the guys that are out for the Colts today. But back to the original point on the defensive line, I really hope that Kemoko Turay can have a solid day off the edge. We've heard about Kemoko's ability. And on paper, Kemoko, his size and his speed was noticeable in camp. And he's going to get an opportunity today against a Miami offensive line that is flawed. And as you said, Eddie, if DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart can cause havoc on the inside, I like Al-Qadim Muhammad on the other side of the line.
He's been their best pass rusher so far.
I really like him. But Kemoko's got an opportunity to kind of be like, not a spy, but a guy that can go under the radar and just maybe a sack and a half today.
That'd be ideal.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's not a lot.
If Stewart and Buckner can do what they do on the inside, I think Kemoko can have an unbelievable game.
And I think if you can generate pressure up front, that forces the center and the guards to possibly have to double team one of the two, which means one of those edge guys is going to be one-on-one with a tackle. And then you can bring a blitz with a linebacker, a delayed blitz even. We saw this last week with Bobby Okereke on the first drive for Tennessee on offense.
Okereke now.
Okereke, thank you.
Okereke?
Bobby
Okereke.
Okereke.
That's going to be so weird. Because we interviewed him during camp.
Right, Bobby O.
Yeah.
Bobby O.
Bobby O. Bobby Orr down the...
but Bobby O had a nice sack on Ryan Tannehill in that first defensive possession for Indianapolis last week, and it was on a delayed blitz because Tennessee double teamed DeForest on that specific play, and it allowed him to go one-on-one and just shoot the B gap on the right side. And if you can generate pressure up front like that consistently, it only opens up those blitzes from the outside from Kenny Moore, who I've seen time and time again be one of the best blitzing cornerbacks in the NFL. And then you can have a Bobby O or a Darius Leonard on a blitz, Zaire Franklin, even if he's in at the game at linebacker today.
Yep.
So, there's just a lot of different things you can do if you're Matt Eberflus, if you are generating pressure, because he has said it time and time again, is so extra spalled. The 3 technique drives this defense because it's a zone-first defense that relies on the pressure coming from the interior.
We've talked a lot about the Miami offensive line. Let's get to the Colts O-line. Again, 2 starters out today. That's Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith. Eric Fisher at left tackle again. We did not see a lot of him during training camp as he was coming back from that torn Achilles. We're going to hear from Ryan Kelly briefly. And then Mark Lewinsky. Mark Lewinsky's been one of the constants on the O-line. The problem is he's been so inconsistent, and you just don't know the play you're going to get out of right guard. So, will the Dolphins pass rush give the Colts any problems today? You hope not. This is Frank Reich on the offensive line performance through the first 3 weeks.
I thought the whole line as a whole did a pretty good job. We had a few misses. In protection, but that's not indicative of, if you look at the overall game, I'd say the overall protection was better, but there were 2 or 3 times where they had somebody coming free that affected us on a couple possible big plays that we need to clean up.
It's not like there's a ton of game wreckers for the Titans. There's not a ton. There's not a lot. And it's just frustrating. It's just really frustrating that for months and 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 months, this offseason went on. And look, you get Carson Wentz, exciting time, new quarterback in town. There's the honeymoon phase where you're like, 14-3, 15-2, Super Bowl, totally different than Rivers, totally different offensive complexion, guy that can get out of the pocket. If you want a guy that can get out of the pocket, you need your O-line to step up. You sign Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher's former number 1 overall pick. Eric Fisher, throughout his career, he has figured it out. He deserves the money, but the Achilles clearly hampered him down, no matter the rehab he did. Quentin Nelson can't stay healthy. You get the just absurdly bad luck that Wentz and Nelson have the same injury during camp. Nelson messes up his back too, and now it's an ankle. But here's the problem with Quentin Nelson's position. I'm most concerned about the back problem. I really am. Because Zach Kiefer is talking about this at practice on Friday, that the way, obviously, that an offensive lineman sets up, it is not a normal human being crouch, and then you just absolutely get your back blown behind you when Aaron Donald is pushing you forward. That's not how a human being's back is supposed to move, let alone a human being that's 350 pounds. So I'm more so concerned that Nelson back problem, it might rifle up again. Now, he's got 3 weeks to get healthy here. At least 3 weeks. Yeah. He's got 3 weeks. But look, a human being is not supposed to bend like that, let alone a human being as large as Quentin Nelson.
Totally agree. And you have to wonder if the back ailment, that's what I'll call it, was a factor into his decision or the Colts' decision on putting him on IR. Like, is the ankle sprain that bad, or is it just because he's so banged up in multiple areas that you just need him to get healthy? So you put him on IR for a couple weeks, let him rest, get healthy. That way you can have him for the main stretch of the regular season right there in the middle, and at the end where you have to start winning games.
God, you hope so. Let's hear from Eric Fisher. Have not heard a ton from Mr. Fisher just because he didn't do a lot of media during training camp. Met with the media this week to talk about how he's doing mentally and physically.
I think mentally I'm right where I need to be. Obviously, it's a pretty crazy injury. And, the one thing that I was told, going into surgery, post-surgery, throughout rehab is like the last thing to come is like that quick twitch explosiveness. So I think whether I came back week 2, week 4, week 6, whatever it was, there was going to be an adjustment, quick twitch training experience there.
Well, hopefully a solid day for Eric Fisher. Before we hit a break, let's hear from Ryan Kelly, Colts center. He was injured during camp, but at least for the first few weeks, he has been healthier than the rest of the bunch. He called this, which I thought was interesting, one of the most intense weeks of practice since he's been here, and well-deserved.
When you're 0-3, man, you got to go back to the roots, and so that's certainly something that Wednesday starts off the entire week. If you start off Wednesday with a good day, you're going to have usually a pretty good week. And so, it was hot yesterday. I think Lord knows that we're playing in Miami this week, so he's cranked the heat up a little bit, and so we got after it though. And I think that sets the tempo for the rest of the week. If you don't have a great day Wednesday, you're usually not feeling too confident on Thursday. And so Wednesday yesterday was probably one of the better days since I've been here, and it was a good feeling.
The humidity definitely is a factor. That's something I really didn't think about until, I guess, this morning. That, I don't know, my parents live in Florida. Down in Naples. So I went down there last summer. I actually went down there last July to see them. And obviously it's October, but I've never been to Florida in the summer, and the Florida humidity off the Gulf, and I would imagine even off the Atlantic Ocean too, in the summer, it's unlike anything you've ever felt. You walk outside and you're sweating.
That's where I'm going to be next week.
Oh, that's right. Where are you going?
Florida. I'm going to Panama City for a week. Yeah.
Big time.
Nice.
Big time.
Vacation.
You going to work on the tan? You going to come back?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have a nice.
That's what the world needs to. That's what the world needs to see.
I have
some Eddie G tan sessions.
I have a really bad Apple Watch tan and a really bad sock tan, so hopefully I can get rid of those a little bit.
Man, every year doing baseball, I get the worst farmer's tan. Just the absolute. When I lived in Cape Cod, there were no broadcast booths out there, so you are, the games start at 6:00, and the sun in Cape Cod in the summer stays out till about 8:39, and you're out there, you're just getting baked.
Yeah.
And you go home and you go to shower, and you just got the worst farmer's town that anybody ever saw. So the humidity will be a factor in Miami today. We're going to hear from Travis Wingfield a little bit later on playing in that Miami Heat, if that gives the Miami Dolphins any sort of advantage. But when we come back, it's the Way Too Early pregame show. Brendan King in for Jimmy Cook with Eddie Garrison and Ryan Soule at BKing Sports on Twitter, at Eddie Garrison _. We'll come back, take a look around the AFC South, including the Jags going down on Thursday Night Football to the Cincinnati Bengals. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
At thehomeloanexpert.com, you can buy a house with $0 down. Let's put you in the home of your dreams. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Hey, it's JMV. The NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants to get you the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Take, for example, the Dolphins and the Colts and Miami. You can do whatever you want with that same game parlay, including the money line, over-unders, and more. That's the same game parlay with FanDuel Sportsbook. Utilize that promo code JMV. Also dial into the 30-1 odds you can get as well for the Sunday nighter with Tampa Bay and New England. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. Promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. Refund issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile or the web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
You need a work schedule that fits your life, and Amazon has shifts that help make the best use of your time. Whether you're a night owl, early bird, weekend warrior, or somewhere in between, discover the benefits of thinking outside the 9 to 5. You decide whether to seize the day or the night so you can get back to what matters most. Go to Amazon.com/shifts to learn more. That's Amazon.com/SHIFTS. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That is markdietel.com. A lot of people doing a lot of moving and shaking right now in the housing market. Here's the one thing you need to know. You have to go with the best, and the best is Mark Dietel, and this is what I love the most, because he's going to guarantee multiple offers in 3 days, or he is going to sell it for free. So whether you're downsizing or maybe you're upgrading, Mark Dietel is the one to call. Also, Rhonda on the east side of Indianapolis wanted to take advantage of a hot market and sell her rental property. She gave Mark a call, and he delivered as promised. That's exactly what he does. It's Mark Dietel Realty today. Tell him I sent you. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's markdietel.com today.
In times of fear, World Vision has been there for the most vulnerable. For the last 70 years, we've stood with kids and families during some of the world's hardest times. Through natural disasters, war, and disease, delivering life-saving aid and support, helping rebuild lives, and empowering entire communities to lift themselves out of poverty. And we're doing the same today. Because rising to these challenges is in our DNA. And with every act of courage, faith, and love, at home and abroad, we do more than just stop the spread of fear. We replace it with hope. Learn more at worldvision.org.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
It could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply. Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
This is Ice-T, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
Matty Ice.
This is a cold call.
I convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL, your uniforms get dirty.
Tide can handle it, even in cold. Plus, if fans join in, they can save up to $150 on their energy bill.
Looks like you just made the team, rookie. Turn to cold with Tide. And that's the bottom line.
It's got to be Tide. Energy savings based on average when switching from hot to cold and non-HE machines.
Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code WFNI when you sign up and get up to $1,000. Code WFNI bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Indianapolis December 22nd with 2 shows at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Tickets are on sale now. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Hey, wake up. We're talking football. It's the Way Too Early pregame show on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, Ryan Soule, the Way Too Early pregame show. Week 4 as the Indianapolis Colts get set to take on the Miami Dolphins down in South Beach. That iPhone alarm radar thing, that still haunts me because I cannot play that anymore to wake me up because my freshman year of college, my first semester, I had an 8 a.m., and you guys know, as now a former college student, as a college student yourself, that when you wake up for an 8 a.m., it is wildly different from anything else you've ever done. It's not even close to waking up at 7 o'clock for high school. It's not even close to waking up for work when you're adult life. Waking up for an 8 a.m. in college is just pain-killing. And when that alarm goes off, that radar, that was my alarm every single day. And for this 8 a.m. first semester, when the sun wasn't coming out in November of 2013, that's how old I am. People, like, I need to remind myself that, like, my freshman year of college was almost 10 years ago. It's not great.
Did you ever change your alarm tone?
Yeah, but I in high school, I was a kid in high school, and my parents woke me up.
My parents woke me up until my junior year.
So I was a complete kid. I mean, my parents woke me up for high school. So I go to college, I'm like, oh, this alarm's good. And then 2 months later, I'm just having ghosts in my head. It was like, oh my God. Like I would hear that in my nightmares.
Yeah, I feel that.
So anyway, that is my personal beef with the with the Reach.
We are on YouTube.
We are on YouTube.
If you want to join the chat, get in there. Chris Miner is joining us from Japan.
Yeah, Chris.
Once again, he joined last week. He's reminding everyone that's in there, all 20 of you that's in there right now, that last week Jimmy and I said, run the damn football. Frank Reich didn't run the damn football, and so they ended up on the losing side of things last week, and I think that's a large part why. And then Globetrotter asked Brendan, I want your opinion on this first. What has been the best thing about the Colts this season? He can't think of anything.
Jeez. That's a really good question. Oh man,
Rigoberto Sanchez looks good.
Oh God, I love Rigoberto, but you can't say your punter's the best thing you have. You've already done that before. But maybe Al-Qadim Muhammad on the pass rush, man. I don't know. I
Rock Yassin in coverage. Lack of penalties.
Yeah, who would have? Can we pull up the Paul Rudd gif? Who would have thought? Not me for Rock. You ever see that with the hot sauce?
Oh yeah.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. You could put the Colts logo on there. And
Colts logo with the IU logo on there.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Maybe Al-Qadim Muhammad off the edge.
Michael Pittman the last 2 weeks.
Michael Pittman. Man, I got Nyheim Hines last week was very promising, and Nyheim Hines can do that. And Chris, thanks for the question, and thanks for pointing that out, I should say, about run the damn ball, because I've said this a lot, and I wrote a piece on 1075thefan.com this week. If your team slogan and your team mentality and the thing you rally around yourself is run the damn ball, and you make hats that say run the damn ball, and you sell that to your fan base, Eddie, what do you need to do?
Pass the ball, right?
No! Say it!
Run the damn ball.
Thank you. Jonathan Taylor had 10 carries last week. Nyheim Hines had 6 carries last week. I get that Nyheim Hines caught the ball 5 times. Great. Awesome. Terrific. Fantastic. Great. 5 catches. But if Nyheim Hines is getting hot in the red zone, you need to get him touches. You need to get Jonathan Taylor touches. Now the Marlon Mack stuff. Where's Marlon Mack going? Who knows? That's still to be determined. But you got a guy that is your 4th running back right now, Jordan Wilkins, who averages over 4 yards a carry for his career. And
he hasn't had one carry yet.
No, is
he?
Jordan Wilkins the best 4th running back in the league? He might be. Seriously, that's a legitimate question.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Sadly, it is. And I mean, it's sad that we've come to that.
Yeah, it's really sad. Jordan Wilkins might be the best 4th string running back in the league, soon to be 3rd string.
Maybe.
I'd put money on that.
I would too.
I mean, Le'Veon Bell makes his debut for Baltimore this weekend. Colts, of course, see the Ravens next weekend. How about this for the Colts? You get a Chester Rogers revenge game last week, a Jacoby Brissett revenge game this week, and next week, Justin Houston revenge game. Nah, that's not too fun. Again, next segment, 6:45, we're going to air our fantasy football grievances, what is making us very angry through our first 3 weeks of fantasy football. Eddie and I are in an MS league. I'm in another league with my college friends where there is a punishment. I will tell you what the punishment is at 6:45. It's not anything that would harm you, but it's something that would definitely kill your personal vendetta in Indianapolis of if somebody saw you doing this, it would be quite embarrassing and you do not want to be seen doing that. But let's take a look right now around the AFC South. So the Jaguars are 0-4. And if you listen to my podcast at all, it's called The Brendan King Show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Nice play.
Thank you. I'm only saying it because I don't say I told you so. I never do that. I don't say like, hey, I was right. Man, this Urban Meyer thing, you really thought that was going to work? You really thought that this was going to work? 2 guys in their lives. Trevor Lawrence has never lost more than 3 football games in his life, ever. And Urban Meyer, you can count on his hands how many football games he has lost. He probably needs 4 handfuls of how many football games he's lost in his life.
Probably.
All right, so tell me where Saad Khan's got more money than you could ever want, and Urban Meyer's probably hired on his yacht drinking mimosas in the Atlantic Ocean. But tell me where this ends up being a positive for Urban Meyer's legacy. If I'm Urban Meyer, when the USC job opened a couple weeks ago, and I mean, obviously the USC job, Clay Helton was not going to stay there for long. If you listen to the podcast, I said Urban Meyer to USC in February because college football needs a blue blood back. Simply. College football needs a blue blood back because who do you think's going to play in the national championship here in Indy, Eddie? If you just had to guess, without even thinking about it.
Right now?
Yeah, who do you think's going to play in the national championship here?
Georgia and Bama.
Thank you. College football needs a blue blood back because Cincinnati now might be in the playoff. And I'm a Notre Dame fan. And my dad went to Notre Dame. And we are just horrified that Notre Dame could not beat Cincinnati. But Desmond Ritter's legit. And Desmond Ridder might be the future quarterback of the Houston Texans. We'll get to them in a minute. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, in what mind does this work when Urban Meyer gets hired? And I'm not going to comment on like the stuff on social media last night. Like
all I will say is Twitter is undefeated.
Oh,
and
God.
if you just search
It's
Urban
so
Meyer
good.
right now, oh my gosh.
We're not going to get into that at all. But if you do want to entertain yourself for a minute, just again, as you said, Eddie, search Urban Meyer on Twitter, and then you can just go into like Pandora's box of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. We're going to talk about football here. So Jags lose to the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Jacksonville is 0-4, but Urban Meyer, after the loss, boy, we're already getting towards like Ohio State, like pizza territory. We're in pizza territory at Ohio State. It's a gut punch for Urban Meyer.
Heartbreaking. You know, these guys, usually I'm not wrong about stuff like that, I just see a good team in there. I see good guys, and I see good hearts. I see guys at work. And I told them I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about that stuff. And this team's going to win some games.
I was at that game Thursday night.
Yeah. How was it?
First of all, the atmosphere was electric. Second of all, I was getting really upset because I had to wait 45 minutes in line at the concession stand just to get nachos.
What is up with the NFL and concession stands?
Well, first of all, they only have like 5 items of food on the dang menu. pretzels.
In Cincinnati?
Yes. Pretzels.
Yeah, list them.
Conies. Hot dogs. Nachos.
Aren't
Actually,
conies
only
and hot
4.
dogs the same thing?
No, not in Ohio.
Oh, come on.
You got a hot dog that goes in a bun.
I've never stepped foot in a Skyline chili.
It wasn't Skyline.
It's all the same.
You're right. But like waiting 45 minutes on food was ridiculous. I missed half of the second quarter, the entire halftime, and the first 3 minutes of the third quarter. But I'll tell you what.
Why don't you just give up at that point? Were you that hungry?
Yes. And it wasn't me. It was the lady who was hungry.
Yep. I'm not even going to ask.
Right. But back to the point. The environment was electric, and I have been to numerous Colts games over the last handful of years, and I don't think I have been at a game where it was that electric from the first play to the last play. Because like at Colts games, it's, sporadic throughout, but like fans were standing from quarter number 1 to the end of the fourth quarter.
Wow. Joey Burrow with the W for the Bengals. Let's get this in. Trevor Lawrence, again, he has lost literally 3 football games in his life before this year. 3 of them. But he thinks the wins are coming for the Jags.
We're getting there. I'm not even going to say, it's going to take time, whatever. We're right there. And you guys have seen it the last few weeks. And I have no doubt, but this hurts for sure because you work so hard and play primetime Thursday night game, feel like you have it won, and then they go out there and hit the game winner. So it happens, but we're gonna keep working.
All right, Trevor. Texans at the Bills later today. Bills 17.5-point favorites. Boy, could Josh Allen lay 17.5? That's a lot of points. Titans at the Jets. Jets stink. Titans are hurt. No A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones. So how many fantasy points over-under, Eddie, for Derrick Henry?
I don't know, but I was looking at his player props because, I'm a prop.
We're going to get to those, 7:45.
His carries, I think, was 24.5 when I last looked, or 25.5. So it was a ridiculous number. His rushing yards prop, 122.5. I've never seen that.
Wow. Well, Derrick Henry against the Jets. You know who? I actually really like Michael Carter, the young running back from New York, but he's got no offensive line in front of him, and Zach Wilson has no idea what he's doing. So
Zach Wilson has one receiver.
So the Titans are getting like the Washington Generals today. And again, the Texans play the Bills. I think the Texans got the coach right with David Culley, but there's not much else right for them right now. Do they like Desmond Ridder? Is Desmond Ridder a future quarterback of the Texans? We'll see. He might be playing himself into that.
I like that Ole Miss QB more.
Yeah, I do too. But we'll see. Long way to go. Way too early pregame show. Brendan King with you, with Eddie Garrison and Ryan Soule. When we come back, at BKing Sports, at Eddie Garrison _ on Twitter. Send us your fantasy football grievances. What's making you mad? What's making you pull your hair out in your league right now 4 weeks in? We're on YouTube, on Twitter again, at BKing Sports. It is the way too early pregame show. Fantasy football grievances when we come back. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Right now, it's a seller's market. I'm Patrick Keller with Crest Point Real Estate. Get your free home value estimate from me in 60 seconds at sellwithpatrick.com.
As our troops are coming home, every business should be finding ways to thank and honor them for their service. We created the Hero Loan. HeroLoan.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Saniqua Martin Green, and when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, our world changed forever. This experience made me so passionate about spreading awareness of treatment options, including clinical trials. I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer to get information to those who have been diagnosed with cancer and their loved ones. Clinical trials introduce new hope for patients, providing access to cutting-edge new treatments. Talk to your doctor to see if a clinical trial may be the best choice for you or a loved one. To learn more, visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials today.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
I'm a veteran. My victory was admitting I had PTSD and getting help.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I no longer see it as a weakness, but as a sign of strength. I call it post-traumatic growth.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran. I lost both legs in Vietnam.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was getting my benefits and a good education.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe. My victory was finding the help I needed.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, this is Martina McBride. With online news, social media, and texting available 24/7, the world seems to be spinning faster and faster every day. And it can be overwhelming. Sometimes we just need to unplug and take a break from our electronic devices. It can help reduce stress and allow us to reflect on the things that are really important in our lives.
This message brought to you courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526. I know from personal experience I had an emergency. No water, coldest morning of the year. On a Sunday morning, they're out and everything is great by noon. That's the folks you trust because it's not like you're going to get any notice regarding your plumbing going haywire. It's LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526. It's online for the best, LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Find the right hire right now. Indeed helps you attract, screen, and interview quality candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's never too early for football.
Yeah, it's too early.
It's the Way Too Early pregame show on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Never too early. Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, Ryan Soul around the horn, the DriveHubler.com studio, high above the circle in downtown Indianapolis as we get you set for the Colts and the Dolphins at 1 o'clock. We'll take you until 8 o'clock. Then it's the Fine Line with Joe Wiz, getting your sports betting picks in, everything you need to know. But right now, we need to get some stuff off our chest and air our fantasy football grievances, Eddie Garrison.
What's your first one? What you got?
So this is just recency bias and just awful timing. I proposed a trade to my buddy the other day in my friend's league, and again, I teased that we have a brutal punishment just for secondhand embarrassment in our league. I'll tell you what it is momentarily, but I proposed this trade to my buddy.
Yeah.
I have DJ Chark, and I have a surplus of wide receivers because I picked up Christian Kirk, and I also have Jalen Waddle. And I'm going back and forth like angel and devil on my shoulder of who to start today, Christian Kirk or Jalen Waddle. You think it should be Jalen Waddle. That's for another segment. But so DJ Chark is my odd man out. So I proposed to my friend who has a surplus of running backs. Melvin Gordon is on his bench. He has not played Melvin Gordon all year. I will give you DJ Chark for Melvin Gordon. I think that's fair. You have a surplus of running backs. I have a surplus of wide receivers. Let's do it right now. He goes, BK, I'd love to, but I got Marvin Jones already. I don't want two Jaguars wide receivers. I'm
that's fair.
You know what? I'm like, that's fine. I understand. I'm open for negotiations. Literally 12 hours later, DJ Chark tears apart his foot.
R.I.P. I'm sorry, buddy.
Help! I could have had Melvin Gordon, and I could have looked like the smartest GM in the world. Eddie, what you got?
All right, my first one is Kyle Shanahan and his lack of usage of Trace Sermon.
Oof.
Last week, Sermon was the only serviceable running back that the 49ers had. 10 carries, 31 yards. He did get a touchdown, 2 receptions, 3 targets for 3 yards, 11 points. And then last week, Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper lost me a game. I needed 30 points. They're playing Philly. I'm like, all right, feeling good. 20-10, very possible. I lost by 5. Keep in mind the official said Dak Prescott did not get in on the goal line rush. That's a 6 points right there.
That's tough. That's bad beats right there.
I was very depressed.
Wait, was that in the MS League?
No, it was not.
You said you have 5 leagues?
Yes.
There comes a point where there's just too many fantasy football teams.
That's my cap.
Come on. I can barely handle 2. All right. If you have any grievances, fantasy football, tweet them at us at BKingSports, at Eddie Garrison _ We're on YouTube. You can post them in the chat as well. Dalvin Cook might as well, I don't know what his middle initial is, but it might as well be Q because there's always a questionable tag next to him. And I'm getting really angry. It's always Dalvin Cook is questionable.
So per Adam Schefter this morning, he will play.
I get it, but still.
But
the Q is still next to his name.
That there's optimism that he will not see the full workload that he normally sees, and that Alexander Mattison will see a few more touches than normal just to keep Cook fresh and so that he doesn't hurt that ankle even more.
That's just frustrating. That's so frustrating. Eddie, what you got?
Lamar Jackson should be playing today. There's no question that he's not playing. That's per Adam Schefter. Antonio Gibson of the Washington football team listed as questionable due to a shin injury, is expected to play, but that is barring any pregame setback, so he's still somewhat of a game-time decision in my eyes. The Steelers will have Deontay Johnson,
that's big.
Juju Smith-Schuster, TJ Watt, Curtis Samuel will be playing for Washington. The Rams will have Darrell Henderson, and DeAndre Hopkins will be playing for Arizona, but I got a little...
Yeah, he's part of your bets. Nice little tease.
Yes, sir.
Nice little tease.
Got a little something on DeAndre Hopkins later, but that's what you're looking at in terms of fantasy-relevant injury news. Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba.
Chuba. I always call him Chuba.
Why? He's not chubby.
I know, but like Chuba Hubba.
No, that's Hubba Bubba. The
exactly. That's the point. Chuba. I know, but Chuba Hubbard, I think he's a solid DFS play if you do daily fantasy. He should have a nice game against Dallas. They are going to utilize him just like they utilized Christian McCaffrey, and that was evident on Thursday night against Houston when he came in for McCaffrey when he left with the The hamstring injury, excuse me.
You mentioned that Kyle Shanahan is allergic to giving Trey Sermon the ball. Nick Sirianni ran the ball with Miles Sanders twice last week for 27 yards, and Miles Sanders had 3 catches. But Miles Sanders had 2 carries at Dallas. If Kyle Shanahan is allergic to giving Trey Sermon the ball, what's that with Nick Sirianni and Miles Sanders? That's like that's like you're in that's like you're in school and your kid can't be anywhere near peanuts. Hey, my kid can't sit at the peanut table. Miles Sanders can't take runs.
I will say, though, that is now 2 coaching regimes that's afraid to give him like a big workload.
Yeah,
Doug Peterson was afraid to give him a big workload, and it appears Nick Sirianni's the same way.
It's frustrating me. All right, so here's the fantasy football punishment before we hit a break. We'll come back with my fast 4 keys to the game for Week 4 against Miami. My fantasy football punishment in our college league, group of us from Butler, the loser of our league. Now, last year the punishment was you had to go do the Waffle House thing, where you have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, and every waffle you eat takes an hour off said time. My buddy, who is 6'6", lost the league. He's just an animal. He pounded like 10 waffles, also ate a burger.
Is that double points or something?
Don't know. He ate a burger because the syrup got too sweet. Anyway, our punishment this year, Butler Homecoming's a big deal. You can ask Joe Koppel that. Butler Homecoming's a big deal, and next Butler Homecoming in 2022, the fall of 2022, the loser of our fantasy league has to dress up as a Butler, attend the fantasy football Butler Homecoming tailgate, and serve drinks for the entire league, dressed as a Butler.
Wow.
Dressed as Alfred, the Batman Butler. Meaning tuxedo, mustache, plate, server thing, towel, whole thing.
I do have one quick thing before we get to the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Who has been the most surprising player for you on your fantasy team this year?
Jalen Waddle, probably. I mean, nobody. Anquan Bolden is the only wide receiver since 1964 to have more catches than Jalen Waddle in their first 3 NFL games.
That's nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah. How about that first
way to bring it? For me, it's DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
For Detroit. I mean, I had him as a RB2, but to see him putting up, RB4 numbers overall right now, I mean, I didn't expect his utilization in the passing game either to what he's been used so far. He leads the Lions in targets for what it's worth.
At least, I mean, Jared Goff, God bless him, in Detroit. You think Matthew Stafford's a happy guy right now?
I would say so. You're undefeated. You're on a very good football team, to say the least.
You're no longer in Detroit. All right, we're an hour in. We are an hour in. It's the Way Too Early pregame show. I'm Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, and Ryan So. When we come back, top of the hour, we're going to hit my fast 4 keys to the game for today in South Beach as Jacoby Brissett takes on Carson Wentz. Colts and the Dolphins at 1 o'clock. 13 hours of Colts coverage started at 6 a.m. We're rolling until 8 o'clock here in the Way Too Early pregame show. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The house you're living in could cost you less. You've just got to refinance to one of these insanely low mortgage rates. Guys, it's Stan Dockage for my friends at American Financing, reminding you that there's never been a better time to get a free mortgage review. There's no obligation, no upfront fees, just a simple conversation around which program may be a better fit. Rates really are at all-time lows, and chances are you can benefit. Even if you refinanced or bought a home last year, you still may be eligible. It could mean lowering your monthly payments plus tens of thousands of dollars in long-term savings without restarting your term. You know what else? You may even be able to postpone 2 mortgage payments, creating even greater upfront savings. So don't put a refinancing off any longer. Rates won't stay this low forever. Call 463-223-1418. That's 463-223-1418 or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hey, it's JMV. Big Red Liquor's big giveaway in October is their biggest yet. Sign up at any store location for the right to buy bourbon's rarest bottle of all, Pappy Van Winkle, along with other rare bourbons. Plus, Big Red is offering 20% off all bourbons all month long when you buy 2 bottles or more. Enter at any store up to once per day for the right to buy Pappy Van Winkle and other rare bourbons. Free and open to all VIPs if you're looking for the ultimate bourbon gift for bourbon bragging rights. Big Red Liquors is your Pappy headquarters this October.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. 1, okay, cool guy. 2, 3 times. Next, I put it in reverse. Meep, meep, meep. Then I take it up and down, up and down. And that, kiddos, is called the forklift.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now that's dancing. Sure beats flossing.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Don't let sudden changes in the weather catch you off guard. You need a NOAA weather radio. A weather radio will alert you whenever weather conditions become hazardous. Whether it's snow and ice, flooding, or tornadoes, you can get up-to-the-minute emergency weather information where and when you need it. Most electronics websites and stores sell weather radios in a variety of models and prices. A NOAA weather radio should be part of everyone's emergency plan and kit. Be prepared. Visit getprepared.in.gov for more information.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You want to feel connected, at one with your world. Informed, included, and inspired. So no matter where you are,
we have an accident on the expressway.
When important things happen,
if you see this man, contact authorities immediately.
We're here, at all hours, in the moment, on every device in your life. Your local radio and TV broadcasters. We investigate and inform.
Our political investigation saved taxpayers.
Give back to the community.
Our radio station is now accepting donations to help rebuild this community.
Even save lives.
It is time to just hunker down. It's too late now to leave.
America's #1 source for news, weather, and information on your radio, TV, computer, tablet, and smartphone. We are broadcasters. Always here for you, wherever here may be. Tell Washington local stations matter by texting radio to 52886. Furnished by NAB and the station. Message and data rates may apply.
Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code WFNI when you sign up and get up to $1,000. Code WFNI bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Right now, it's a seller's market. I'm Patrick Keller with Crest Point Real Estate. Get your free home value estimate from me in 60 seconds at sellwithpatrick.com.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's 7 a.m. Grab your coffee and...
Is that bacon?
No, it's football. It's the Way Too Early pregame show with your host, Jimmy Cook.
Brendan King in for Jimmy Cook in this Week 4 Sunday as the Indianapolis Colts get set to take on the Miami Dolphins in South Beach at 1 o'clock. Ryan Soule has moved into the producer chair, spinning the dials for the final hour, taking until 8 o'clock. Then we will hit the fine line with Joe Wiz, Eddie Garrison to my right here in the DriveHubler.com studios. All right, Eddie, we're going to get to my fast 4 keys of the game as the Colts head down to South Beach 0-3. The Dolphins are 1-2. Jacoby Brissett. It is the Jacoby Brissett potential revenge game. Had the Chester Rogers revenge game last week. Next week may be a Justin Houston revenge game, but it's Jacoby Brissett against Carson Wentz here this week down in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. So Jacoby Brissett over the last 2 weeks, filling in for Tua Tagovailoa. Every time I say Tua Tagovailoa, Eddie, you know what I'm talking about, but there is a viral
yes,
there is a viral Rick Ross video where
Tua
Tagovailoa is what he calls him. Ever since watching that video, my friends and I always, whenever we watch the Dolphins on Red Zone, somebody shouts, Tua Tagovailoa. But no, it is Tua Tagovailoa. Anyway, Tua's got cracked ribs, can't play, pain tolerance. Rob Gronkowski also has cracked ribs. He's not playing in his homecoming at New England. We're going to get to some Tom Brady returning to New England talk here in the 7:25 segment. Again, right now, my fast 4 keys to the Colts' first win of the season today. That's very sad to say. You can follow us at BKing Sports, at Eddie Garrison _. Ryan, what's your Twitter?
RSoul19.
You got it. RSoul19. Please console Ryan Soul on Twitter because his Reds will not be playoff bound.
I could use it too.
But you were at least understanding that the Reds stink. And Ryan thought they were World Series bound. So,
I mean, all of us thought they were World Series bound at one point.
To maybe 2 of us in this room. Anyway, past 4 keys. Here's the first one, and it's very simple. It has to be next man up for the Colts today. Has to be next man up. It's a laundry list of injuries. Quentin Nelson goes to IR. He's out at least 3 weeks. Braden Smith will miss his 3rd consecutive game. Kwity Paye is out on the edge rush. Rock Ya-Sin, who has lived and died and lived again at the Colts cornerback position. He had a terrific, and I mean fantastic, first day of joint practice against Carolina when they came in here in August. He locked down DJ Moore, and the year that DJ Moore is having, I think that says something about Rock Ya-Sin that day. The next day, though, Sam Darnold absolutely burned him. Absolutely shoveled him. Then Rock Ya-Sin in the Seattle game, just brutal. Then, play of his life last week at Tennessee, but he gets hurt. Rock Ya-Sin up and down on a roller coaster ride, but Colts are going to miss him. Isaiah Rodgers will take that cornerback spot. And then a guy that I think has really struggled this year, but I love, and he is due to get back to his fantastic all-star self, and that's Khari Willis. I think Khari Willis was a top 5 Colts player in camp, but he has not been a top 5 Colts player in the first 3 weeks. So, all in all, it's an X-man-up mentality for the Colts because Miami will only be missing one man that was not on the injury report last week. That's their center, Michael Dieter. Their offensive line is not a strong suit to begin with. But what's the mentality got to be like when you're 0-3 and you're going on the road? Darius Leonard talked about that.
You know, you can't panic for one, and then you got to be relaxed but ready. You got to be to a point where you're ready to, do what you got to do. And what the mindset is, you got to look at the tape and you got to look at it with a critical eye. You got to see what went good, what went bad, and just learn from that and understand that, it's only week 3.
Only week 3, but Eddie Garrison, it's only week 3, but if you lose this one, it's not an only week 4 thing anymore. It's not an only week 5 thing anymore. It's a you might be screwed thing.
I'm like that from the get-go. Like, I'm in the camp of, you can say that all you want. Yeah, it's only week 1. But every single game matters.
I think it's a cop-out, man.
Every single game matters. Look at last year. You lose to Jacksonville week 1. That's a deciding game in the division. And a deciding game of you having a home playoff game. So to say, it's only 1 week of 17, no. You can't say that anymore. Like, you can't say it. Because every single game in the NFL matters. It is hard to win in this league, no matter what team you are. And you're the Indianapolis Colts, you need every win you can get. Because not only does that have an implication on, bonuses of rosters and whatever players and whatever that's built into their contracts, it also helps the community because they're not going to be as frustrated with the Colts, and they're not going to be as frustrated when the Colts make the playoffs and that pick that Philly will have in the first round is no longer a lottery pick because by the looks of it right now, Philly could have 2 top 10 picks come April.
Maybe that's when they'll dump Miles Sanders. Maybe they're sending a message that, hey, we're going to draft a running back. Yeah. What did Herm Edwards once say? You play to win the game. And the Colts have not played to win the game in the first 3 weeks.
You don't play to just play.
No. Russell Wilson killed him. Matthew Stafford burned him. I don't think Ryan Tannehill, exploded on the scene, but you can't handle Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry absolutely humbled Darius Leonard last week with that stiff arm. Absolutely humbled.
It was more of a truck than a stiff arm.
Yeah. If Derrick Henry's doing that to Darius Leonard, what's he going to do to the Jets today?
I don't know.
You might have to blur out what's happening on the field. Explicit content.
How many players do you think are in the box against Tennessee today?
I think Robert Saleh is a good coach.
Do you put all 11 in there?
Maybe. I think Robert Saleh is a pretty good coach, too.
I do, too. I like Robert Saleh.
I do, too. But, ooh. Key number 2. You got to stop leaving Carson Wentz out to dry, even if he holds the ball too long. I wrote an article, 1075thefan.com this week. It's on the front page.
Is it in the lounge?
It's in the lounge. It's in the BK lounge. Coop's at the BK lounge. It doesn't matter if Carson Wentz holds onto the ball for too long. It's on him, and he's going to take a punishment because he's been hit 31 times and sacked 8. That's on Carson Wentz. The pain is totally on him. Now, should the offensive line be better? Absolutely. I'll get to that in a moment. But if Carson Wentz is going to risk holding on to the ball that long, he needs to face the repercussions of doing so. That's why Phillip Rivers was healthy all last year, and he played through like a brutal turf toe. That was more than turf toe. I don't even know what to call that. His big toe was not functioning. Even though he said during his press conference, yeah, it's just a toe. I'll be fine. I'm good. I'm solid. If Carson Wentz hangs on to the ball that long, it's on him. But his offensive line needs to be prepared for that. You had months and months and months to develop a plan and build depth on your O-line, and you chose to take 2 pass rushers in the first 2 rounds of the draft. I'm cool with that. I love Kwity Paye, Tayo Dangbo. Nobody knows. That's the ultimate mystery. But you had months and months to develop depth on that O-line, and you didn't. And Eric Fisher's not ready to start the season, and you're just hanging Wentz out to dry. And that can't happen anymore, and it's affected the red zone percentage. How about this? The Colts touchdown percentage in the red zone. You want to take a wild guess what it is, Eddie?
It's less than 25%?
No,
my guess?
It's actually 36%.
I was being too critical.
Yes, but that 36%, only the Jets, Giants, and Patriots are worse.
Oh, my God.
Well, hey, how about this? The Patriots' red zone touchdown percentage is 25.
Oh, my word.
When's the last time you heard that? New England's red zone touchdown percentage is the worst in the league. When's the last time you heard that?
Never.
Not in our lifetimes.
Never.
Not in our lifetime.
Right.
Goodness. So
I did come with some nuggets here.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to supplement kind of what you're saying and provide a key for myself.
Go ahead.
The Colts have had 11 scoring drives this year. 5 of them have been touchdowns. When you look at like the average number of plays per drive on a touchdown, it's 9. Field goals is 10. But to me, it's the time of which it's taking them down to get to score. Nearly 5 minutes are coming off the clock for a field goal.
Oof.
4.5 for a touchdown. And this is all skewed because you have one drive where you score on 4 plays, 22 yards. And that was because of a turnover against Tennessee. When you get rid of that, every scoring drive takes at least 5 minutes. They are taking way too long to get down the field. They're not getting the chunk plays. And that, to me, is going to be a big factor today. You have to get the chunk plays. It keeps the defense honest. And that, to me.
That's good stuff, Eddie. That's good stuff. Carson Wentz talked about those red zone struggles. What's the issue, Carson?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing we want to do is get down there and either not score or just kick field goals. Once we're down in that tight, some of these are long, sustainable drives. It's hard to get down there. So once we're down there, we want to punch it in. And so, yeah, it is frustrating. Those are things that we're looking long and hard at is, how do we maximize what we have and who we are as an offense and just find a way by any means necessary to get that ball in the end zone.
Any means necessary has not been really seen a lot this year. And again, Colts, Dolphins, 1 o'clock. Can the tides turn? Jacoby Brissett against Carson Wentz, Brendan King, and Eddie Garrison at B King Sports on Twitter, at Eddie Garrison _ on Twitter, at rsoul19. Right? Do I have it down? I already got it down for Ryan. How about that? You may say the Colts have been in this position before, and they have. They started 1-5 in 2018, but I just don't know if that same grit and that same sensibility is in this year's team. They have not shown it. Frank Reich talked about that 1-5 start.
All those experiences help, not just that, but others that we've all been through in football and even non-football related, about overcoming, obstacles. So we'll use all those things. And what do you learn? You learn you got to take it day by day, week by week, that 1-0 mentality.
The problem is the 1-0 mentality, we are getting too far along here where the first 5 weeks, Eddie, we knew it was a gauntlet. Different than the gauntlet last year, which was kind of the midseason when the Packers came in. You had the Titans twice. You had the Ravens in there. It's a gauntlet to start the season. And I don't know if we've really have been shown that one game at a time type feel just with all the chaos.
I agree. And see, that is such the frustrating part too with Frank Reich is he is so optimistic about every single thing. The offensive line play about, I need to check the film.
Is it Nate Bjorkgren optimistic?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either, but you get my point. He's so opportunistic all the time about this team.
Yeah.
At one point, does he become a realist and realize that there are issues? And when does he address them? When does he change? Because your best offensive player is your running back. And you have yet to give him the ball more than 15 times on the ground in a game this year.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Eddie, because my key number 3 is please give Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines the ball. We mentioned it in the last hour. If your team mantra and you make gear and you make hats and you make shirts and your fan base screams it and your team mentality is run the damn ball, Eddie, what do?
You run the ball.
Thank you. Jonathan Taylor, 10 carries last week. Nyheim Hines, 6 carries. He had 5 catches. I get it. Nice day for Nyheim Hines last week, but not nice enough.
I'm going to try and keep this short.
Should have been more.
So I'm not going to get on my soapbox with you here.
Yep. We got time.
Jonathan Taylor, like you said, 10 carries. He averaged, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but he was close, if not over 5 yards per carry. And you're telling me, if you're Frank Reich, you are fine with your quarterback, who is as close to his statue as possible last week, checking out of a run to a pass. How in the world are you okay with that? Because most of those times, he was throwing it into the dirt. He was throwing it away. It was a check down for 2-3 yards. And if you just go by the game flow, Jonathan Taylor was getting positive yardage and good yardage every time he touched the rock. Why do you go away from it? Why do you put that much trust into a quarterback who has had a shortened preseason of training camp because of the foot injury, and then he now has the 2 sprained ankles, so he's not fully participating in practice? How are you okay with that? Or how can you be okay with that?
Carson Wentz is like that guy in SpongeBob. Every morning I break my arms, and every night I break my legs. He's just walking out all taped up. It really is. See, I feel like at times last year, too, Frank Reich got away from the run, and he pinned it on Taylor being a rookie, Marlon Mack being out, and Nyheim Hines really not. Nyheim Hines at times was aggressive last year with how he ran. He had that big 2-touchdown game at Detroit. But Nyheim Hines, I think this year he's taken it to another level, especially in training camp, too. I don't think this year Frank Reich can pin it on that Jonathan Taylor's a rookie and we had to bench him because of the fumbles. Right. As you just said, when Jonathan Taylor's gotten the ball, it's been great.
He fumbled once last year and he got benched.
Yeah, right. And when he's gotten the ball this year, he's been great. But sure, I think Frank Reich was warranted getting away from the run at times last year because Phillip Rivers got rid of the ball so much.
Right.
And so easily. But this year, it's not warranted.
But like the critique the past couple seasons with Reich is that he has stuck with the run too long in games.
Yeah.
To where like
there's not that happy medium.
Right. To where the Colts were out of the game and he was still running the football. You're down 2 possessions and 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and he was running the football. Like, no, you can't do that, Frank. You don't have the time. And then you're in a 1 possession game or it's the third quarter and it's still a close game and you just completely go away from it. It just made no sense.
Key number 4, Jalen Waddle's really good. Really, really good. Earl just asked, when does the drinking begin? And guy commented now.
Well, technically, not alcohol. You can drink water.
No, you can drink water. No, I didn't emphasize what they're drinking.
Right.
Jalen Waddle's really, really good. Really, really good. I got him in the 10th round of our fantasy draft. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Pretty proud of that.
I think he's one of those guys that's going to get a lot of volume.
Yeah, I just don't know if Jacoby can get him the ball. But he's already caught 22 passes in his first 3 NFL games. Only Anquan Bolden has caught more passes in their first 3 contests than Waddle since 1966.
That's nuts.
It's really good. And again, I'm like got angel and devil on my shoulder of like Jalen Waddle or Christian Kirk today in fantasy. So I think both are solid options because I think that Cardinals game is going to be a shootout. But I don't know, man. But the problem is like you got the Rams defense against Kirk, but then Waddle is playing with Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if Jacoby can get him the ball.
Right. Oh, I mean, Jacoby got on the ball 12 times last week.
But Jacoby was, I guess.
I mean, he had 17.8 fantasy points if you're doing standard ESPN scoring.
That's solid. This is Brian Flores, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Must be interesting game planning for a winless Colts team that had the kind of expectations they did coming into this year.
I would say it's a very good team. I know they've played some tough opponents. They've been in every game, got good players, they've got good coaches, they're skilled. You know, every game's a meaningful game in this league. I mean, they're looking for a win, and we're looking for a win, and you know, I think that's what the preparation's about this week. Really, in all 3 phases. You know, today's a big day for us from a preparation standpoint, getting to know this team, and then trying to execute and practice the way we want to execute in the game.
Key number 5, it has to be hydrate, right? And we just talked about when does the drinking begin? Drinking water.
So you got 5 keys today?
Yeah, 5. Well, I mean, I do have 4, but let me go 4A. It has to be hydrate. Travis Wingfield, Dolphins reporter, was on the Dan Dockett show earlier this week. I'm actually interested to hear this soundbite. What's it like playing in the Miami Heat this time of year?
It's pretty rough out there when the sun's shining, especially the way the stadium was. The renovation was built around that canopy that puts the visitors' bench right in the middle of the sunshine, while the Dolphins get to sit in the air, or not the air conditioning, but rather the shade, and kind of keep themselves cooler throughout the course of the game. So it's cooling down a little bit. This week actually has been kind of nice. I was able to go outside with my daughter last night and play, which we don't get to do usually this time of year. So the weather cooled down this week a little bit, but traditionally in September, it's scorching hot. It's not fun to come visit.
See, the thing about Floridian saying it's cooling down, it goes from like 106 to like 92, and they're like, oh yeah, it's good, it's good. You still walk outside and you're drenched.
Yeah, it's that humidity.
Hydration's key today, Eddie.
Hydration, trying to come up with some shade.
And winning a damn football game.
That's right.
The Way Too Early pregame show. It's Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, and Ryan Soule around the horn. When we come back, we are going to get to my thoughts about the Colts' backup quarterback situation. Brett Hundley on the active roster still, but Sam Ehlinger is back at practice this week. I will give you my thoughts on that as well. Tom Brady going back to New England. Would you boo him if you were a Patriots fan? That's coming up on the Way Too Early pregame show, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Mortgage rates drop again, creating opportunities for refinancing everywhere. How much can you save? Let's find out now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Official sponsor of IU Athletics.
Hey, it's JMV. The absolute best is Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. That's online, markdietel.com, Mark, DIETEL.com. Everybody is going to tell you that they can get the job done right, or even better than what you thought. But you got to go with somebody that's going to deliver. The only person that I would use if I were moving is Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232. He's going to give you guarantees. In fact, multiple offers in 3 days, or he's going to sell it for free. Marion in Perry Township made the decision to move into a retirement community and needed to move quickly. So who was called? Absolutely. 317-755-4232. Mark Dietel, and he got the job done right. That's Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com today.
Puccini's 707 locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com. Puccini's 707 locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com.
Founded right here in Indianapolis in 1991 and winner of the World Pizza Championships in Parma, Italy.
Puccini's 707 locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope.
DAV helps veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
So veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You want to feel connected, informed, included, inspired. So when important things happen, we're here. Your local radio and TV broadcasters. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information on your radio, TV, computer, tablet, and smartphone. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Tell Washington local stations matter by texting radio to 52886. Furnished by NAB and this station. Message and data rates may apply.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
This is Ice-T,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Matty Ice.
This is a cold call.
I convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL, your uniforms get dirty.
Tide can handle it, even in cold. Plus, if fans join in, they can save up to $150 on their energy bill. Looks like you just made the team, rookie.
Turn to cold with Tide.
And that's the bottom line.
It's got to be Tide. Energy savings based on average when switching from hot to cold and non-HE machines.
Outstanding.
Marvelous.
I've never seen anything like it.
The world has never seen anything like it.
It's the greatest play of all time.
Greatest play in the history of all time.
Booyah!
Boom, baby!
Wow!
Ooh-wee!
Love sports like we do? Fan harder with USA Today Sports Plus, the new sports app that delivers all the insights, all the reports, live and direct to your phone.
Download it from the Apple and Google Play stores today. USA Today Sports Plus. Fan harder.
the right hire right now. Indeed helps you attract, screen, and interview quality candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Indianapolis December 22nd with 2 shows at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Tickets are on sale now. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Hey, wake up. We're talking football. It's the Way Too Early pregame show on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We've already aired our fantasy football grievances. That was in the 6:45 segment. I've also aired my grievances with the iPhone alarm rejoiner. That just brings back bad memories. I cannot use that anymore. But it definitely wakes you up. That's for sure.
When you hear it in the morning, when you wake up, you're like, oh my gosh.
Is that your alarm in the morning?
Not mine, no.
No.
Mine's a little bit of an upbeat, uplifting. All right, let's get the day started. Let's have a good day.
Okay, so you're like, what's it called? Like the constellation or something like that?
I don't know. It's like dun 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 dun.
I mean, that's what they all sound like. Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, Ryan Soule, the Way Too Early pregame show. We're getting you set for the Colts and the Dolphins at 1 o'clock. This segment, I want to focus on the Colts backup quarterback situation. We're also going to get to Tom Brady going back to New England, including something I heard this week on Greeny with Mike Greenberg on the 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan airwaves on Wednesday. There's a caller that dialed in talking about Peyton Manning returning to Indianapolis with the Denver Broncos as Greeny posed the question, would you boo Tom Brady if you're a Patriots fan? And there's a caller from Indianapolis who called Greeny and talked about Peyton Manning coming back to Indianapolis. So we will get to that shortly. But first, Sam Ehlinger back to practice this week. I was at practice on Friday at the Colts complex. Good to see number 4 out there. But Jacob Eason, the situation with Jacob Eason has been a similar roller coaster to the Rock Ya-Sin stuff. But I said this on the American Standard Indiana College Game Day show yesterday with myself, Eddie, and Coach Bob Lovell, that I get that sports media's job to do so, but quarterbacks in their first year are under more pressure, I think, than they ever have been. Because if they do not succeed, whether they are a starter, the number 1 overall pick, or a backup taken in the 6th round, if they don't perform in a hot summer day practice, then their career's over. Their career's over. If they throw a pick. And if they do perform, they're the next big thing. That's what happened with Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger during training camp.
And a name that Colts fans love to throw out there a few years ago, Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly. Same thing with Swag. I'm getting really tired of it. I really am. This is going to be like, I don't mean to rant, but like I'm getting really tired of like quarterbacks getting just either painfully hammered or put up on this pedestal where they're the next big thing if they have a good camp. I mean, Jacob Eason had a good camp. After Jacob Eason threw 4 picks in, I want to say 3 days, 2 of them straight into the chest of Bobby Okereke, right? Okereke.
Okay, correct.
Jacob Eason got better, and Jacob Eason performed well in that Carolina preseason game. But what's happening now, if Brett Hundley is going to leapfrog Jacob Eason for the backup job, you know, Frank Reich talked about this on Jacob Eason earlier this week. It is going to be a situation where if Brett Hundley leapfrogs Jacob Eason, that's not good for the career of Jacob Eason, to say the least. When it gets to the point where the coaches are saying this and showing this by not giving Eason the backup job and they're not ready to turn to him if Carson Wentz needs to miss time, I look at that a lot more than what, you know, the media is going to say. But this is Frank Reich on if the team misjudged Jacob Eason.
We're happy with the progress Jacob has made. We're glad we have the quarterback room we have for right now. And, you know, you'll see Sam Ehlinger practicing today, so he'll get back in the mix. This is an ongoing evaluation for everybody, and quarterbacks included.
I get that. You know, if Frank's happy with Jacob Eason, then why is Brett Hundley the backup quarterback when Brett Hundley has started 9 games in his career? He gets signed here. The guy is getting the scraps of the reps in training camp. Literally the scraps. If there were any left over, Brett Hundley got them. That's the only reason why. I said this a couple weeks ago. The Biggest thing I learned about Brett Hundley during training camp was that he uses the same hard count as Aaron Rodgers. That was the biggest thing I learned about Brett Hundley. Green 19, set hut. Brett Hundley could have left camp with Eddie Pinheiro, went to the Portillo's that was being built down the street in Westfield, waited for the construction to be done. They're just putting the bricks on. Returned to camp, and nobody knew he was gone. That's how irrelevant Brett Hundley was in camp. And now he's supposedly the Colts' backup quarterback. But Brett Hundley, I guess you could call him a veteran backup. But is there any situation, Frank, where the Colts would go after a true veteran backup?
Fair question. Something Chris and I talked through a lot. And, I think we feel really comfortable what we decided at the beginning of the year that, that these were the guys we were going to go with. We're going to give them every opportunity. And, we had 2 young guys that we drafted that we wanted to get a lot of reps. If we had gone out and got a vet, it would have limited that. It would have been harder to see what we have in the 2 guys that we draft.
I think that is fair. I think that's fair. But right now, I don't feel good enough about Brett Hundley to come in. The purpose of a backup quarterback is when you get the reps like Jacob Eason did against the Rams, where you're trying to lead something and you're trying to make a name for yourself. That's when backup quarterbacks are made, Eddie. That's when backup quarterbacks don't become legends per se, but that's when backup quarterbacks earn their money. That's the difference between getting a contract and signing at somebody's camp and getting cut twice and winding up on somebody's practice squad in September.
Yep, and I think backup quarterbacks today in the NFL are much, much, much more valuable than they were 5-10 years ago, because it seems like quarterbacks today are becoming more injured than they were, 5, 10, even 15 years ago. So for the Colts to roll with 2 guys that don't have experience, and then a Brett Hundley, who wasn't even in the NFL last year, if I remember correctly, hasn't played since 2017, you would think you would have somebody who has, A, more recent experience, B, who's a more, I would say, serviceable backup than Hundley, or C, you just say, F it, and you roll with the young guns. Like, find what you've got in those guys, because you never know what you might have. You may have, this is far between, but you may have somebody like a Justin Herbert that you don't know. Granted, you kind of know what you have in Sam Ehlinger based off of what he was at Texas, because he doesn't have the arm strength, but somebody like Jacob Eason, you don't. He doesn't had much time playing quarterback at all. He didn't play much in college. He didn't play much in high school. So you don't know what you have in him. You can have the next great thing.
They don't think so right now.
Obviously. And to me, Brendan, I want to know what happened.
Yeah, I don't think we ever will.
What happened from training camp to now for him to say that the quote-unquote experience is why they're rolling with Brett Hundley as the number 2 over Eason? Because certainly to me, Brendan, it seems like there has been something that they have seen either in practice, or it's something that he isn't just grasping mentally that they don't like. That would be the only thing that I can think of, that you go from being number 2 to number 3, possibly even number 4 when Sam comes back.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't love what I saw from Eason during camp, but I wasn't ready to give up on him, and I wasn't ready to give up on Sam Ehlinger.
I'm not either.
No, I wonder if we're going to find out any of that drama during Hard Knocks.
That would be awesome.
That
would be awesome.
Because we still don't know. But I will say this, and I will disagree with you in this sense, that I think that Sam Ehlinger, the arm strength thing, is a bit of a cop-out sometimes because of the guy he's competing against. Because Ehlinger's arm strength, I think, is fine. But when you compare it to who he was competing against for the backup job, it was completely blown out of the water because Eason can throw the ball so damn hard.
And Carson has a really good arm,
he has a monster arm. I will say that it is tough to remember, but look at the play before Ehlinger got hurt. Before he messed up his knee in Detroit, it was an off-balance throw as he was getting out of the pocket, throwing against his own momentum about 30 yards down the field, near side, complete pass, hell of a play. He gets hurt the next play. And if Ehlinger stayed healthy in that game, I don't think we would be hearing as much with the brouhaha of arm strength problems. And plus, we haven't really seen him get a legitimate shot. We haven't seen Eric Fisher be his left tackle. That didn't happen during the preseason. We have not seen him with full weapons. T.Y. Hilton's still hurt, obviously. When Sam Ehlinger is good to go, I want him to be the backup. Because there's a certain maturity that a backup quarterback needs and a certain level of confidence. When Sam Ehlinger was in camp healthy, he was teaching Brett Hundley the playbook. Jacob Brissett wasn't. Marcus Brady wasn't. When Brett Hundley had a question, Sam Ehlinger was teaching him the playbook. And Sam Ehlinger was in camp for 2 weeks. Look, I think sometimes Sam Ehlinger's college pedigree gets overblown because he played at Texas. He's a Texas boy. But when he is healthy, I think 2 and 4 are your quarterback tandem. I really do. All right, we need to get to Tom Brady returning to New England. If you're a Patriots fan, at BKing Sports on Twitter, would you boo Tom Brady in his return to New England? I think it's a fair question. That's a question that Mike Greenberg posed earlier this week on Greeny on Wednesday. A caller rang in from Indianapolis to talk about Peyton Manning coming back as a Denver Bronco at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh, you're so right. I was in Lucas Oil Stadium the night that Peyton returned, and that place, it was like a playoff atmosphere. My son, who's now 22 years old, he was probably like, probably maybe 12, 13 at the time. He looked at me as soon as the Broncos came out. He goes, "Mom, don't cry." And then they started flashing the Peyton story up on the Jumbotrons, and he got a standing ovation. And, he was on the sideline warming up, and it seemed like it was 30 minutes long, but no one sat down until Peyton took his helmet off and waved to the crowd. It was just fantastic.
If anyone around you, Nikki, had been booing, what would you have done?
I would have gave him probably the dirtiest look. Probably would have burned a hole through them. But it was great. It really was fantastic.
Because you, Nikki, are a good fan, and that's what I like. You also have my favorite name. That's my daughter's name. So I'm a huge fan. Thank you, Nikki, for the call. Bubba, let me get one more.
So is it warranted for New England fans to boo Brady today, Eddie?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
You can't do it.
No. He brought you championships. Multiple. A handful.
Yeah.
You got all this blingage.
All the rings.
You got all the blingage he brought you.
Yeah. What do you think, Ron?
I'd say the same thing. You
can't. You just can't. So you said you were at that Peyton game. Did you hear one boo?
No. Not one boo.
And if you did, what would you have done?
I would have been like, "Are you serious?"
I think that's warranting saying something.
I think so too. Now, when you look at their situations, obviously Peyton was cut. Brady left in free agency because Bill didn't want him or whatever really happened there. But both of these guys meant everything to their franchises. And that game was a really good game because A, the Colts won, but B, you kind of got a little bit of emotion out of Peyton Manning there before the start of the game because he kind of almost shed a tear, and that was so unlike him because he was so locked in the moment every single game before, and he nothing would faze him. But the tribute on the video board was amazing, and I think the ovation that the Colts fans gave him was even better.
Well, if you ask Tom Brady, there is no personal emotion going back to Foxborough today.
You're right. I played in a lot of big games. It was a big game for our team, big game for our guys. We had a tough loss last week. We want to get back on track, get back to winning. We got to do things the right way. Obviously, this team challenges you to do it the right way. They do a lot of difficult things for the offense, so it's going to be a big challenge for us.
You think he's locked in?
I think so, too. And K-Mac in the YouTube Live says that you can't boo Brady, but if anyone could or would, it would be the Bostonians.
See, I lived in Cape Cod, Massachusetts for a summer, so I'm a former masshole, and that does make sense. That does make sense. Brendan King, Eddie Garrison, Ryan Soul, the Way Too Early pregame show. We're coming back with Eddie G's Prop Bet Cafe. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Your support helps the Red Cross be there every day for disasters big and small. Make your donation today by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS or by visiting redcross.org.
If you work in a union, any union, at closing, we give you a $500 gift card. Apply for your union loan today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326-241.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. It's Colts Dolphins this week in Miami, and the Colts are currently road underdogs, so there's money to be made if you believe in the horseshoe. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. I love betting the NFL on FanDuel Sportsbook because they have lightning-fast payouts and their app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, also claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win in the Sunday night game between the Buccaneers and Patriots. Just sign up with promo code MARK, and if your first bet loses, get up to $1,000 back in site credit. That's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Has a new home crossed your mind? Maybe you want something bigger or you're ready for a new neighborhood. Listen to this. Mortgage rates continue to be incredibly low, which makes your dream home very affordable, especially when you work with the salary-based mortgage experts at American Financing, America's home for home loans. Hey guys, Dan Dockage here, and I like American Financing because they create custom home loans. You're able to find the best mortgage for your home financing needs. Whether it's your first, next, or forever home, they've got you covered, and they never charge up front or hidden fees. It's really a no-pressure experience that's focused on you. So what are you waiting for? With rates still incredibly low, there's never been a better time to make your move. Pre-qualify for free by calling 463-223-1418. That's 463-223-1418 or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Follow us here, and my friend Larry at Whole Wall Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is scheduling furnace tune-ups for customers in Indy and the surrounding areas. Whether you have a brand new heating and cooling system or one that's been in your home for years, seasonal wear and tear take a toll. Larry and his techs will check out all the technical and mechanical systems. They'll be sure your furnace filter is ready for the winter. No one wants to be left out in the cold. Give my friends at Whole Wall Heating a call at 317-255-4328 or check them out at wholewallheatingandair.com.
Has your child swallowed your medicine, your laundry detergent, your nail polish remover? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you inhaled paint thinner, glue, pesticides? Call the Poison Helpline. Have a question about a dose, a fume, something your kid just drank? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Wonder if you should get tested for colorectal cancer? Well, it's the second leading cancer killer in the U.S., and screening helps prevent it. So if you're 50 or older, it's time. Even if it doesn't run in your family. Most often, colorectal cancer occurs in people with no family history. And it doesn't always cause symptoms, especially early on, so don't wait for symptoms to get tested. Screening helps prevent the disease by finding precancerous polyps so they can be removed. Remove the polyp, prevent the cancer. Screening also helps find colorectal cancer early when treatment works best. You might be thinking, oh no, not that test. But here's the thing, you have options. There's more than one screening test. Talk to your doctor to find the one that's right for you. No more excuses. If you're over 50, get tested, because colorectal cancer screening really does save lives. A message from HHS and CDC's Screen for Life campaign.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
This is Norm.
Hi?
He lives with anxiety, but with the help of the new Normal Maker, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With just a swipe of your finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo.
How are you doing?
Or normal.
How's this? this?
The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with a mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Talk to someone you trust. Learn more at bringchangetamind.org.
For our troops and their families, the military is more than a career. It's a journey. And every step along the way, the USO is there.
It's an experience that soldier will never forget. That's what the USO does.
Be a part of their journey. Learn more today at USO.org.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but you grew up and things changed. Well, it's time to put it back on your list. Innovative things are happening in teaching today, and you can be a part of it.
Make more. Teach. Visit teach.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code WFNI when you sign up and get up to $1,000. Code WFNI bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's never too early for football.
Yeah, it's too early.
It's the Way Too Early pregame show on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This has been fun. 6 to 8. It flew by.
It goes by fast.
That flew by. Brendan King in for Jimmy Cook this Sunday, week 4. Colts and the Dolphins, 1 o'clock. Eddie Garrison and Ryan Soul, great job on the 1s and 2s. We need to hit the Eddie G Prop Bet Cafe. I really like the sound of that.
I don't have my coffee with me
Eddie, what
today.
you got, man?
Okay. I appreciate that. So last week I played this. I think I played this on the show, but certainly it was on my Twitter at Eddie Garrison _ I took Matt Ryan under. Last week it was 37.5 for his longest pass completion. Bank. Easy. I'm taking him under 35.5 for his longest completion again. And here's why. Atlanta is still bottom 5 in the NFL in pass block win rate and pass rush win rate, meaning opposing teams are generating a lot of pressure consistently on Matt Ryan, which doesn't allow him time to get the ball down the field. They play a Washington football team that ranks first in pressures. They rank in the top 3 in quarterback hurries, so that doesn't bode well when you're trying to get the ball down the field. And plus, Matt Ryan lately has not had any arm strength to me. So I am playing the under of his longest pass completion until he proves to me otherwise that he can throw the football down the field. I teased this earlier when we were talking fantasy football. DeAndre Hopkins under 70.5 receiving yards last night. I was doing some research. I saw it at 69.5. Did a double check today. 70.5. That is on FanDuel. On MGM and DraftKings, that is 68.5. But
also got it 70.5 on Barstool.
There you go, big boy. Last year against Jalen Ramsey, Hopkins had 52 and 35 yards receiving. I think it's another game where Jalen Ramsey shadows him. Additionally, he has stayed under this total in back-to-back weeks against Minnesota and Jacksonville. And dating back to even last season, BK, he has stayed under 70.5 in 8 of his last 12. He was on the field for 61 snaps last week, 3 catches, 21 yards, 6 targets. Kyler Murray is not force-feeding him like he was last year.
And now Kyler Murray loves Christian Kirk.
And he also loves Rondale Moore.
Yes.
They are spreading the football around because they also have Chase Edmonds and they have A.J. Green, so they aren't as dependent on DeAndre Hopkins as they have been. And plus, the matchup to me isn't well. Sunday Night Football, I'm taking Mac Jones over 25.5 completions. I played this for a little over a unit, as well as Matt Ryan. I just like this spot for Jones simply because you can't run on Tampa Bay. And the only way you're going to put up points is by throwing, and I find them behind early, so I think the game script will favor Jones. He's not afraid to dink and dunk and throw it underneath, so I like that spot. He's hit it in 2 or 3 so far this year. And then the final one that I'll give you on the show, Colts related, Hot Rod Rodrigo Blankenship over 1.5 field goals. We've already documented.
No.
We have already documented the struggles in the red zone for the Colts. 36% touchdown rate in the red zone. I think this is a low-scoring game between the Colts and Miami. And
you got a score?
I'll give it here in a second. Let me finish. But
wow.
I just think it's one of those games where Frank Reich is going to realize that every point matters, and he'll take every field goal chance that he can get. So that's why I'm taking it at plus odds of over 1.5. Final score that I've got, I'm going to say the Colts 19, and then Miami will score 12. I think not a lot of touchdowns. I think there's only one and a lot of field goals.
The fan put out on social media everybody's picks. I took the Colts 23-14. Ryan, you got a score?
I like the Colts 16-9.
16-9. That's low scoring, eh?
It is pretty low scoring.
Yeah.
I do like
so
the
you're
under.
saying hammer the under?
Yeah.
Speaking of the under, Lions-Bears under 42.
I would even take the under in the first half of the Colts game.
Really?
Jacoby Brissett, notorious for starting out slow, and then he likes to play.
That's right. I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with my Raiders stay undefeated pick. I'll take the Raiders plus 3.5 Monday Night Football against the Chargers. Go Chargers! You ever see the Arnold Schwarzenegger? Go Chargers! Go!
Yeah.
That's so good. This is the Way Too Early pregame show. My name is Brendan King with Eddie Garrison and Ryan Soule on the ones and twos this morning. Coming up next, it's the Fine Line with Joe Wiz, getting you everything you need to know in the sports betting world. Eddie G, where can folks find the rest of those picks for you?
On my Twitter at Eddie Garrison _.
Bang bang. Colts gonna win today? Gotta have it.
I think so.
Man, you gotta
Must
have
win,
it.
as
You
Jamie would
cannot
say.
fly back up from South Beach 0-4. You cannot do it. Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Colts Dolphins 1 o'clock. 13 hours of Colts programming here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Enjoy the game, everybody. Go Colts.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off select tires now through October 31st. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Are you one of the millions of homeowners who haven't refinanced yet? If so, I'm here to tell you it's not too late. Hi, I'm Wesley Hoagland with Westland Financial. Although the lowest rates may be in our rearview mirror, as the economy recovers from the biggest economic shock of our lifetime, rates still remain near historic lows. In fact, with the dramatic increase in home values, this may be the perfect time to put that new home equity to work. Take advantage of our cash out refi program and pay off high rate credit cards, car loans, or other high interest rate debt. Or finally make those home improvements you put on hold for so long. Best of all, we can do this with no closing costs. That's right, whether it's a conventional, FHA, or VA loan, we'll pay for your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. So call Westland at 888-455-3669.